Is the property involved or affiliated to any legal disputes? Now, legal disputes can happen for various reasons. It could be that the property was initially inherited by a parent and one member of the family then went and tried to sell the property, and then other siblings came back and then were contesting it from the people who had bought it. So you want to know whether that property that you're trying to buy is in any of those scenarios. Now, for you who's watching this video and you're thinking, oh, but Lerato, this is a lot that you need to do, and I don't want to fall into this pitfall. I don't want to fall into this situation. I don't want to, have this as a stress. I don't want to go through all of this. So I would rather not invest. That's not the best thing. I don't feel like you should say because bad things happen to people that you would then say you're totally going to stay away from it. Bad things happen to people even when they're driving. Something happens and then they get killed in an accident. It doesn't mean that all of us are going to stop going into cars. What it means is that we're going to be more careful, we're going to be more aware of what the pitfalls of driving a car, being in a car, or driving around in a certain area where somebody was robbed would then become. The same thing would have to apply with your real estate investment goals. And some of the pitfalls that you would want to avoid in this circumstance would be the fact that you don't want to fall into the same situation as we've seen and we've talked about. I don't want to rehash it again because we just talked about it in the video. But some of the ways that you can do this would be, one, to engage professionals. Some of the professionals that you must have with you when it is that you want to go into any property investment would be, one, a realtor. A realtor is optional. If you're able to find the property and do the work that the realtor would do by yourself, oh, well and good, please go ahead. But know that if you don't have a realtor, the seller may have a realtor. So that's that. A realtor would be involved. Two, you would have to have your lawyer. Always have a lawyer. Lawyer would help you to verify the documents, would help you to review the agreements, would help you to draft whatever contracts, whatever receipts, acknowledgements and all of that would have to go on. Your lawyer should at least be in full brief of all the communication between yourself and the person who is selling the property to you. Three would be your surveyor. Always have a surveyor to go and check and double check whatever survey plan it is that you get or you are given. Now, why would you want to do this? Because Lagos State is currently undergoing a lot of reconstruction, a lot of replanning and all of that. There are places where the government has started to mark out to say that they are going to recoup, and say that they need to do certain things in those areas. Now, the valid owners of those properties are going to be compensated if the government is having to take off their properties off of them, and all of that. You don't want, as a new owner, to then go and have to deal with those things, because what that means is that you would then have to either be moving or you would be affected by those things. So you want to be able to be sure that you are not taking on any property that is encumbered, which means that it is something that the government has an interest in, or it has a due diligence thing, or it has a contest upon, or whatever, a court case or a lien or anything. You want to make sure that you don't have any of those on it. So your surveyor is going to be able to tell you from a survey and town planning perspective whether all of that is clean and free. The next thing that you also want to be able to have is a liaison who is going to literally help you do the groundwork. This can be a family member, it can be somebody who is just a third party who will go in places where they can go and spy for you. It's not all the time that these things happen, but it would always be good to have it. I personally, even as a realtor and an agent, I have people that I use like that. Sometimes there are other agents that work also in the area, and I just tell them what I'm interested in and I go and I do that. So these are key things that you also want to be able to do. Aside from all of these things, I belong to active communities of realtors, people who are interested in real estate investing, and we talk about things like this that we're doing. So if you can also join a community, I have one if you're also interested, where you can actually start to talk about these things. And when I say I have one, because this is the reason why we created it. This is the reason why we created the Dominance Society. We wanted people to be able to come into the community interact with people who are interested in real estate and say, what are the issues? This is what I'm trying to do. Do you know anything about this? Talk to yourselves, because as you talk to yourselves, you feel more comfortable about going forward with what it is that you want to be able to do. Next way it is that you want to also be able to avoid the pitfall would be to insist on documentation. Earlier on in this video, I said that if you're not getting answers, you're not getting documentation that makes you totally comfortable or that basically fills up the entire checklist, please be ready to walk away. Walk away now rather than when you have keyed into the deal, you've paid for the deal, you're probably even paid in full and you're in the property, and then something happens that you have to then evict it. So please insist on your documentation. Insist that you get all the answers that it is that you want to be able to get. Ask people, hire and engage professionals to essentially work with you to be able to complete the process. And at least you would know that you have done your parts to ensuring that you are as secured as possible. Nothing in this world is totally risk-free or foolproof, but at least you should and would have done everything in your power, and as would apply to the process, to ensure that you have protected your investment. So whilst you're doing all of these things, the easiest way, as you would see and everything that I've said, that you can get all of this done would be for you to ask questions. Asking the right questions, knowing what are the right questions to ask would always be a help to ensuring that you get the answers that it is that you need. So, typical example. If you're going to buy a property and you don't know that you should be asking for the survey plan, whoever is selling the property to you may not give you the survey plan. So, if you go in there and you ask all the questions but you don't ask for a survey plan, then chances are that you may not get a survey plan if the person that you're dealing with on the other side is not thorough. So in knowing what questions it is that you have to ask, I'm going to just run through a few of them right here now, and then I'm going to attach a link to a document that is going to have more questions that you can ask. Affiliated agencies, state agencies that you have to liaise with, work with, or interact with when you want to either buy a property, invest in a property, or build a property for yourself. So at least you have these lists and you know that, okay, these are things that you should actually look out for when it is that you want to be able to do that. So the first question that you should be looking to ask would be, what is the property's history or the legal status? Legal status would basically fall under things like its title, its documentation, is it in a location that it's meant to be? Remember, zoning laws will always apply, so it will be uncomfortable or inappropriate for you to then be having a shopping mall in a place that is fully residential without that area being mapped out to be multi-purpose use. Now, it would also be inappropriate for you to then go and build a residential in a corporate environment or a commercial environment. So people argue and say, oh, but you can't have homes in a commercial environment. That's true, but the homes would then be attached to a corporate office or something, and then they would just be like an addition to the office. So these are things that it is that you want to be able to always check out for and know what it is that the status of the property that you're buying is. So that would fall under the legal status. The other thing that you need to be able to also verify would be, is the property involved or affiliated to any legal disputes? Now, legal disputes can happen for various reasons. It could be that the property was initially inherited by a parent, and one member of the family then went and tried to sell the property, and then other siblings came back and they were contesting it from the people who had bought it. So you want to know whether that property that you're trying to buy is in any of those scenarios. These things would always affect how long it is that you know that you can be there, what it is that you know that you will be doing. So imagine that you've bought a property that has such a legal contest on. By the time the ruling goes in favor of the person that is not on your side, then that means that you will have to be evicted, because it could come up and say, oh, the land was meant for the entire family, so you did not have a right to build on it. And then the person's being told, remove your building. You have bought the building. Then what happens? If you had even tried to process your paperwork for that type of building, you won't get it. So you find that these are issues that you may find or come across long term, and then you would also be coming into a difficult situation. Another instance, which is very practical and it happens unfortunately quite often, would be the fact where somebody has leased or rented a property. And because the landowner, the property owner, initial property owner is probably not in town or not anywhere around or doesn't check often, then they, as renters, tenants, go and try to sell the property. Yes, we've seen instances like this, and it's appalling to think you come in as a tenant and then you go and rent. But anyway, that's not the thing. But you, as a person who's trying to buy, you should be able to understand these things. So you'd want to be able to do all of those checks. Ask the questions. If the person is uncomfortable, please walk away. I say this all the time. Walk away. Save yourself the stress. If they want to give themselves that stress, then all well and good. So these are just two of the questions I did, so you can ask. I'm going to share a third one before we move on, and then you can just take the link to the entire document that would give you more questions that it is that you should ask during your due diligence, how it is that you can do the due diligence, and the government agencies that you should be expected and interested to know about or work with or interact with when you either want to buy a property, sell a property, or build your own property. And the third question that you want to be able to ask whoever it is that you're talking to at that point in time is that, are there any development projects or potential issues that may affect this project or property that it is that you're buying into? A typical example would be, is this property blocking any drainages? Is it contravening any environmental laws? Is this property in a place that's supposed to be a road? Now, you asking the questions, and let's be fair, some people, maybe your realtor, may not directly know, and this is where you can then ask for a copy of the master plan from that area. It's not so common to then have developers have it, but hopefully now with this instance we would start to have developers have it. I know that we've started to look out for ways that we can engage with town planning and say for properties that we want to be actively involved with, that we'll try to get these town planning copies, so that at least you understand what it is that is happening, that is to ensure that the property that we are working with is not contravening any laws. So we're going to try to make sure that we have this handy, and you can start to ask for it from your realtor, your developer, or even have your lawyer ask for it when they are doing the due diligence. So those are the three questions that I'm going to be able to talk about in this video, but please just remember to check in the caption for where it is that you can find a link that would say download the free resource here. That would be more questions that it is that you can ask when you want to buy a property, sell property, or develop your own property. And you could also, in that document, you would also be getting a list of the various agencies that it is you should have to either deal with, interact with, or work with when you want to either do either of all of these things. I would probably also add a general checklist for how your due diligence, what your due diligence should entail. I know that we have a playlist on the channel that literally talks through the different aspects and areas of due diligence. I've had different professionals come on here, this channel, to talk with me and educate us on things that it is that we can look forward to. So that playlist is also going to be in the caption. Make sure that you at least get the free resource, so that at least you can know you can take that away with you and always have it handy. The channel will always be here for you to come back to, for you to watch any and all of the other videos that may apply to whatever it is that you're trying to get done. And if you don't find a video that already addresses something that you're trying to get done, it's not a problem at all. Send an email or just drop a comment under any of the videos or in the community, any of our posts or anything, and say, "Hi Lerato, I am looking for information about XYZ. Do you have a video or a resource that addresses this question?" The number of people that are in the community are having the liberty to be able to ask these questions and have me answer them, or have other people who are in the community also answer them right there in the community. And if you want to join the community, there's always going to be a link for Chills. You join the community here so you can come in and get all of this information. But if you are just coming across this video and you found value or somebody shared it with you, please help to make sure that more people see this video by liking, commenting, and sharing it. We take this responsibility, that's myself and my team, we take this responsibility that we feel like we have to educate, enlighten, and show you and tell you ways it is that you can actually invest in real estate better, smarter, and more successfully, so that we have less people in society who are losing their money to investments that were either not meant to have been made or that were not made properly. Having too many people lose their money is an issue, because if so many people and everybody should lose their money, it means that the market is going to become unfavorable. Having an unfavorable market means that we run into bigger issues. But those are just discussions and topics for another day. Thank you for watching till this time, and I hope that you have found value enough to stay subscribed or hit the notifications bell. My name is Lerato Lekena-Okoro, and I am, as usual, honored and glad to have you watch my videos, and I look forward to seeing you on another video. Till next time, bye.